Hey everyone, it's Summer with AstariaSen. I'm back with another book review. What kind of book review? It's more just talking about a book and how I may or may not use it and why I may not use it, especially for fairy. This one is actually called The Fairy Bible by Teresa More. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it talks, on the back, it says, how do the fair folk live and flourish? Whether you believe the fairies exist or are simply fascinated by the enchanting legends about them, you'll find yourself immersed in this glorious illustrated guide. And this is a pretty thick book, okay? It is a pretty thick book. Some of the information in here is terrific. Some of the information in here is made up. Some of the information in here I don't agree with. So let's start with some of the stuff that I don't agree with. I do not agree that like Odin and Zeus and stuff like that were fae. I don't see them as fae. They are gods. Fairies are not gods. Fae related creatures are not gods. They're completely separate entities. And I do know that some people do consider them a form of god or goddess, but I do not. I do not in any way, shape, or form. I think that the Norse mythology for Zeus and Odin, all that, is completely separate than actual fairy or fae. So with that said, agree with me or not, that is how I feel about it, and that's how I feel about it in this book as well. I do not think that is correct information. So anything that has to do with the gods, I don't necessarily agree is fairy related. However, there is some really cute stuff in here. She does give some sources for some fairy lore. There's some really cute images, especially inspiring ones if you are doing any kind of artwork or just need some inspirations. She's got some cute stuff in here about sensing the presence of fairies, the in-between locations and the in-between times, which I do like. The traditional fairies are believed to favor the places in between, which I totally agree with. At these sites, there is a shift in the energy pattern, which makes them more suitable for fairies. So yes, I do agree with that. So like I said, there is some good information in here. Then she's got some meditation stuff that you can that there is to work on. There is fairy cities, landscapes, rings, and paths, and I think a lot of this is just fun stuff and would be really cute for kids. Honestly, really super cute for some kids, especially if you're introducing them to fairies and enchanted anything, because it's got some really cool stuff. It talks about some fairy music and language, and it has, I mean, the artwork in here is amazing. It does talk about fairy festivals, and I do agree that a lot of the fairy stuff in this part is it has a lot of good information in it. It talks about the fairies with Imbolc and the spring equinox, and Beltane and the midsummer. So all of those I completely agree with, and then I think that the fae have a lot to do with those kind of times of the year. Okay. She does talk about some fairy trees. She talks about some fairy protocol. And then she goes into a lot of the different kinds of fae. Attracting water fays into your home. Odin the Allfather. This is where it gets like, Odin is not. He's not a fairy. She does say Odin is indeed a mighty spirit, for in the days of old he ruled in strength and wisdom over the gods of the Norsemen. These gods were the awesome I don't know how to pronounce that. Aesir, who dwelt in Asgard. Odin's domain is the vault of heaven, which he rides on his 8-legged steed Sleipnir as he leads the wild hunt. So it's not that her information is technically wrong. I just do not agree that it is fairy. That's my main thing there. She talks about the Sidhe, Thoth. She talks about a lot of different things in here. She even talks about some Indian stuff. What is it? The White Buffalo Woman, Native American stuff. So, I mean, there is a lot of interesting information in here. I just do not consider it all fae. And I wouldn't consider it all the greatest resource for fairy stuff. For fun, yes, I could see it totally for fun. If you're introducing it to some kids, or you just want to meddle or dabble a little bit in fairy work or fairy stuff, or learn just a little bit about fairy, I say this book is okay. It is. It's got some good quality information in it, and she's got some good sources in here that she talks about here in the back, like her bibliography kind of thing. She's got picture credits and everything else. But as far as it being like my kind of main source for fairy information, I would not use it specifically for my main source. If I'm going to give you guys information, specific information about some kind of fairy or fairy folklore or something like that, this is not the book I would use to reference for you that information. If, however, say my granddaughter came to me and says, hey, grandma, what's this about fairies? I might pick this book up and say, hey, look at this. Isn't this a cute fairy? Look at the kind of stuff that you can do with it. It's kind of fun for like an introductory, fun, enchanted kind of fairy, but not so much the really working with of fairies. So it is a cute book. It does have some good quality information in it, and it also has some not so good quality information in it. So it's kind of like a balancing act, knowing what. Do your research. That's all I got to say. If there's something that you want to actually refer to, make sure you're doing your research and look it up too, because not all fairy information is correct and not all fairy information is real. So keep that in mind as you read about fairies. So I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a very great day.